What's going on, everybody? I hope everybody's having a great day so far. So today we're actually going to continue talking about playing some Songo Variation, but this time we're going to be doing it on 3 congas. Yes, you gotta love it. Y'all already know what day it is. It's Tutorial Thursdays. So to all the new subscribers, welcome to A Percussion Life. My name is Eric Perez. Some of you already know that by now, but just had to welcome you to the channel, and I do hope that you enjoy these videos. And if you haven't subscribed already, just hit that subscribe button, hit the notification button, find out whenever I upload. And I normally upload every Monday and every Thursday, and it's normally things that you request. And to all my day ones, man, thank you so much for all the love, all the support, taking the time for watching that real long video on Monday. My goodness, and I apologize for how late I had to post it, because man, it took forever to process. It took forever just to export it out of my computer just to upload it, man. My goodness, it was such a long video, but again, the topic was so vast. In actuality, that was 5 tutorials in one video. And yeah, today we're actually going to just continue this little mini series on Songo. We're gonna take a lot of those variations that I talked about on Monday's video and just adding how we would do that in 3 congas. So if you haven't seen that video, and I'll probably link it up here, check it out, man. Check it out. Please check that video out before you even touch this one, because I'm really going to sum up a lot of the stuff that I talked about in that video to help us understand how to add 3 congas. And really the basis is the same. It's just so much more melodic, man. We're gonna have some fun, but you gotta love it. But yeah, let me show you guys how to play these variations. You're gonna see some noticeable differences, but yes, you gotta love it. You got to love it. Man, that Songo Variation nomination. You gotta love it, my gosh. Yeah, let me show you guys what I'm doing. If you saw Monday's video, you would see a lot of what I showed referenced here. Some slight modifications to adapt, adding the 3rd drum, but man, it just completely changes how those variations sound, just because it adds a little bit more of a melody to the Songo. And also, like Monday's video, I'm gonna try to put timestamps below so you can see each variation. Again, there's 5 of them that I played here. So yeah, please, I'm sorry if it's another long video. But again, 5 tutorials in one. It's kind of crazy. Who else does that? Crazy. So for the first variation, it sounded like this. Kind of crazy, but you gotta love it. And if you started working on Monday's video, again, all you're going to do really is going to be subtracting one of the tones. And like I mentioned in previous video, each of these Songo patterns start with a bass finger, and slap. So to start it off, you start with the bass finger and slap. After doing that close slap with your dominant hand, what you're going to do with your non-dominant hand is a finger, and then with your dominant hand, you're going to do a bass. So it's going to sound like this. And basically the only difference from what you were doing with the other variation that I showed on Monday, which is a close slap with your non-dominant hand on the conga, what you're going to do is you're actually going to substitute that, and you're going to do one open to your drum on your non-dominant side. So it's going to sound like this. And then you finish off this variation with two opens on the tumba to your dominant side. So to put everything together, it's going to sound like this. Versus doing this variation. Or and like I said, this has to be fit in a 2-bar phrase, so you're actually going to do one whole cycle, which is really 2 of those. So it's going to sound like this. And like I said, you could even play around with this one and take one of those hits off the tumba. Just to have an idea, it's gonna sound like this. Now for the next variation of Songo, it's gonna be the one that's actually very different from the rest, and you're actually going to be doing 2 hits on your tumba to your non-dominant side. But yeah, to kind of refresh that one, it's gonna sound like this. Yeah, that one has some swing to it. So like always, you're gonna start with a bass finger and close slap. And kind of like the previous variation, a way you can remember this one, it's actually just one of those first parts of that first variation. So it's one of these. So basically that's kind of the first part of this variation of Songo. After doing that open with your dominant hand on the tumba, what you're going to do is, this is where it's kind of referencing that Songo feel. And what you're going to do with your non-dominant hands is you're going to do a ghost note or a tap on the conga with your non-dominant hand, and then an open with your dominant hand on the conga. So it's going to sound like this. So to put that together, and then what you're going to do is you're going to do a bass finger with your non-dominant hand on the conga. Then you're going to do one bass with your dominant hand on the conga. And then with your non-dominant hand, you're going to do an open on the tumba to your non-dominant side, and you're going to finish everything off with 2 opens on your tumba to your dominant side. So it's going to sound like this. Now to put everything together, it's going to sound like this. Kind of nice. Now to play it all the way through, it's going to sound like this. having some fun, but you gotta love it. Now for the third variation, just to give you a refresher, it's gonna sound like this. Yeah, that one is kind of challenging, but you got to love it. Now again, if you saw Monday's video, and if you don't get the hint, see Monday's video to understand these variations. With this one, it incorporates a lot of slapping. So to kind of remind you what the variation this kind of is influenced by, it's gonna sound like this. So all I did to just incorporate a third tumba is what I would do is the second time I'm gonna do those close slaps. So the second time I do a close slap with my dominant hand and the close slap with my non-dominant hand. What I'm going to do is, rather than doing a close slap with my non-dominant hand, I'm actually gonna replace that with an open. So to just kind of give you that example, it's gonna sound like this. Very simple if you got that variation down packed. Now if you want to get creative, you could just replace whatever you want to do with the close slaps with your non-dominant hand and just replace them with opens on the tumba to your non-dominant side. So it's gonna sound like this. Kinda crazy, but you gotta love it. Now for this fourth variation of Songo, just to give you a reminder, it's gonna sound like this. Again, you're going to do the same exact thing as a previous variation, except you're not going to do the close slaps. So again, you start with a bass finger slap, and then a finger with your non-dominant hand, and then two opens, one dominant, one non-dominant. And then with your dominant hand, you're going to do two opens on the tumba to your dominant side. And then you're going to do a finger with your non-dominant hand and then an open with your dominant hand on the conga. And then to finish everything off, a bass finger with your non-dominant hand, an open with your dominant hand, and then an open with your non-dominant hand on the tumba to your non-dominant side, and then two opens on the tumba to your dominant side. So it's gonna sound like this. So to put that together, and now for the fifth and final variation. Oh yeah, you gotta love it. To give you guys a reminder, it's gonna sound like this. that one's gonna take some explaining, but you got to love it. So like always, we start this variation with a bass finger slap. Now here is where the difference goes into adding a third drum to this Songo variation. After doing that close slap, we normally do a finger to then progress to those two opens. But what we're going to do is actually replace that finger, and we're going to do an open to the tumba, to your non-dominant side. And literally after doing that open, just like the variation I showed on 2 congas, it goes back to your regularly scheduled programming and you continue the pattern. So then you go with an open with your dominant hand and then an open with your non-dominant hand. So to put it together up to this point, after doing that open with your non-dominant hand, you're going to do 2 opens on the tumba to your dominant side. And then a little finger tap on the conga with your non-dominant hand, and then an open with your dominant hand on the conga. And then after doing that open with your dominant hand on the conga, like I said before in the previous video, you're going to do a slight bass hit with your non-dominant hand, and you're going to leave it there. Then you're going to do a close slap with your dominant hand on the conga. And then after doing that close slap, now with your non-dominant hand, you're going to do a bass finger, and then with your dominant hand, you're going to do 2 close slaps. So it's going to sound like this. And that basically wraps up one whole part of the variation. So just to do that ending part, it's going to sound like this. So to put the whole thing together, stopping at that point, it's gonna sound like this. Not to play the whole thing through. Kinda crazy, but you gotta love it. Now I'm gonna try to count all these variations very, very slowly. So bear with me just a little bit, but you gotta love it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. My goodness, that's a lot of Songo right there, but you gotta love it. But alright y'all, I really do hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I am so sorry that this video is so long, but again, it's 5 tutorials in one. So 5 videos in one. That's kind of crazy. That's seriously some some craziness right there. But you gotta love Songo. You gotta love how it has innovated through the times and how much has changed. Again, this is not just the final say of Songo. There's many more variations out there, many more different styles that people put their input and their style. It's unbelievable, which I truly respect, because it's, you know, who am I? You know, who am I? Who am I to kind of show you guys this stuff? But yeah, this is just my take of how to play Songo on 3 congas. Just different variations that I've normally tried, especially when playing a simulation of Songo. You know, when we try to play Songo, you know, up in here, you know, you gotta love it. But alright, y'all, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Y'all already know what to do. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week. Have a great weekend.